This episode is sponsored by ODP Business Solutions, built to address all your facility needs. Visit odpbusiness.com today. As you land in Las Vegas for ISSA Show North America, your goals may include trying not to go home exhausted, broke, and buried in business cards. Today, we are going to show you how to win the week without burnout, a game plan of sorts, how to maximize what's new in tech, systems you can imitate or adopt, and the hidden ROI some leaders often miss. And to do this, I'm pleased to welcome someone who I think will be at the show and who's been there more than once. Laurie Sewell, president of ISSA and CEO at Servicon. Hi, Laurie.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm good. You?
Great, thanks. I'm actually really excited about the show, as usual.
It's coming up soon. For those going to the show, they might watch this video maybe while they're at the show. I could see them now, Laurie, walking around with their phones going, Laurie said to do this.
Oh,
Laurie said to
yeah,
do that.
yeah. Well, at least somebody will listen to me. I don't
There you go.
know.
I know you've been there many times. I've been there many times as well, but every year it's a good event, networking, all kinds of neat things to see.
Yeah,
What I'd like to do today is just have a conversation with you and get your thoughts on how to maximize a show experience from your viewpoint. So if you're ready for that, we'll jump in.
let's go.
So let's talk about how to maximize the show without burnout because we know it's a busy week. A
Yeah,
figurative one-page game plan that you think attendees should pay attention to from your viewpoint. What would you tell them?
yeah. So I think if you're attending with a group, and even by yourself, a pre-plan is super important. So if you're with a group, you determine what are the things that you want to do together and how do you want to, and what are the things that you want to do in terms of splitting up, right? So you go here, I go here. So you can maximize your time. That works really well, I think, in the classroom sessions, right? The education portion. So, having a couple of people in the same one makes sense if you can if you can manage that, but spreading out to get more information during that time makes a lot of sense. I think you need to treat the show as a classroom and a marketplace. So focus on a couple of priorities. Don't try to do it all. Look at who the exhibitors are, know exactly which exhibitors you definitely want to go to. If you need to set up a meeting ahead of time, set up time ahead of time so you can actually schedule it on your calendar. At least during the show, after the classroom portion is done, there are education opportunities on the showroom floor. Figure out what your 1 or 2 must-attend sessions are. And then identify how you're going to do networking. Are you going to attend something like the Hygeia event? Are you going to attend, the business meeting towards the end? Identify what ISSA specific things you want to do and attend as well. Obviously, I would say make sure that you go by the ISSA booth to see what type of products and training and new things that ISSA is doing. But the key is schedule it out. Don't just walk in there because particularly if it's your first time, you will be overwhelmed by how big it is, how spread out it is. Oh, really important, walking shoes. Wear really good walking shoes. I tell people you will be walking a lot. So good walking shoes. But yeah, a good schedule, super important, and try to schedule those exhibitor meetings. And then obviously you want to leave some open times for the unexpected, right? You don't necessarily, there's oftentimes very new things there that you want to be able to see. I would also recommend going to the showcase of the new innovation, because that's also a great area to go see what's new. And if you see something there, you may say, hey, I want to go visit that manufacturer or that vendor because I saw this really kind of new product I want to go take a look at.
I've sat in sessions and I've met companies where there were like 6 people from the same company and they were staying together going to sessions. I'm like, no, you need to split up. That's good advice. And then compare
Yeah.
notes, right? When you're done.
Yeah, exactly. Always come back. And so we typically do a prep where we prepare and say, what are we going to get out of it? We also will talk to our customers and let them know that we're going and saying, is there anything you're looking for, anything unusual, or any problems you're trying to solve? So we use it as a marketing opportunity with our clients to let them know that we're, actually looking out for them. So you can, that would probably be the first thing I would do is go ask them, what are you looking for? What problems are you trying to solve? And then you bring that rather than bringing solutions to the show. You're bringing problems, and you're having the vendors and the people that are there and the people you're networking with help you with the solutions. Sometimes people go with the reverse.
That's not the way to do it. Yes.
Mm.
Go with your challenges, your concerns, whatever it is, and get the help you need. So good stuff, Lori.
Yeah.
Um, you and obviously the agenda is on the show site, issashow.com, so people can really plan out what they're going to do. So there's no reason to show up and go, what am I going to do? You can do that in advance. You mentioned the innovation theater, but talk about other cool stuff while you're there. Any themes or emerging trends that you have your on your radar that maybe others
Yeah.
can look at?
I mean, robotics and automation continues to be advancing quickly, and so obviously that's something that we're going to be looking at. Software as a solution. There's a lot of new software opportunities to improve, I think, the way you manage your workforce, because workforce solutions is going to remain a front and center problem for all of us. So how are we optimizing? How are we scheduling properly? How are we managing? How are we doing things that keep people safe so they're working? And not out of the workforce. Super, super important. I think when we go and talk to vendors or manufacturers, we don't want to just talk to them about, what their product is, but we want to understand what does it take to implement it. How supportive of they are they in terms of helping train our people with that, and what's the follow-up support. So we just don't want to look at features and benefits. You want to look at the whole cycle, the whole life cycle of implementation, and then validation that the ROI is really there, on time and dollars.
I'd love to talk about the sessions that there's so many workshops, so many class opportunities.
Yeah.
How do you take those and turn it into systems or use the information to help you with that? So the notes you come away with, operational changes you might need to make when you get back. How do you make that work?
Yeah. So in your pre-planning, starts with pre-planning, right? When you're looking at the sessions that are there, you're hopefully tying them to your organizational goals or your organizational challenges. So if there's something on workforce and workforce is a challenge, or something related to, if you're a manufacturer and there's something related to some of the new legal requirements in manufacturing, look at what your organizational challenges or your strategic planning for your organizational goals are, and then go determine that those are the ones you're going to actually attend. Once you're there, one of the things that I always do is when I take notes, and they're terrible. I'm a terrible note taker, but the one I can often not read them afterwards. But one thing that I do is I'll write on a different page one or two takeaways or things that I'm definitely going to implement when I come back. It could be something as small as changing the language that I use around something that I thought was really impactful, or something larger, which is maybe implement, a different system for, you name it. And so I'll put that on the side of my notes, the key takeaways and the key things that I want to implement. And then we'll do accountability with our team members when we come back. We follow up and say, what is the one thing that you're going to follow up on or you're going to do? And sometimes it's we're going to meet with this manufacturer because we want to learn more about their product or their process. Another is I'm going to remain in contact with this networking person, this person that I met in the industry. We also ask each person to find two new buddies at the show that they've met and that they're going to stay in touch with, in the industry.
Are you telling me your team is not just going to go to Vegas for a good time?
Okay, we plan that too.
Okay.
That's part of the plan. One year we did axe throwing, another year we did zip
Oh,
lining and video gate, like the
yeah, I did axe
escape
throwing one
rooms, those
time.
kinds of things. But there's always a team building activity
Okay.
that's part of it as well.
I did axe throwing one time. It was quite embarrassing.
I was scarily pretty good at it, so I don't know what that says.
Oh, maybe you're born in the wrong era or the wrong part of the world. I don't know.
For sure. Well, it's my Dungeons and Dragons background.
Yeah, if anyone wants to play Dungeons and Dragons with Laurie Sewell, she'll have a table set up at ISSA Show.
Of a gaming table, exactly.
One great thing about the show is the networking, because when you go for the first or second time, you might be overwhelmed with the education, but then you start realizing, and you mentioned you want your team to come back with buddies in the industry. That's networking at its best.
Yeah.
Talk about networking. How can we move the needle when it comes to workforce challenges, collaboration, and what do some overlook when it comes to this?
Yeah, I think what's really important is it's interesting that networking doesn't just happen at a networking event, right? I mean, people will call it this is a networking event. I find it happening all the time when I'm at ISSA. The person I sit next to at a session, the person that I'm waiting outside of a room with, just the conversations that come. I mean, the badges are great because there's always an opportunity to say, oh, you're in a similar industry, or you're from that area. We have business in that area, or we do work in that field. I mean, it's just, and I've got to tell you, the people. One of the reasons I love this industry so much and why I've stayed in this industry for so long is the people are really amazing. They're very inclusive. They're always willing to talk. And so I tell people, particularly new young people getting into the industry, just strike up a conversation. I've become friends with, I know, Steve Ashkin. I've probably talked about this before, who, father of green cleaning. I became close with Steve by going up and talking to him after one of the sessions that he gave. So going up and speaking to the speakers, they're very generous with their time. Hygieia is another great opportunity. They'll have an event where you can meet and talk to people. And I find that I've been fortunate sitting on the ISSA board where I have friends who are in different parts of the country who do similar to what I do, and we share challenges, we share ideas. So finding those people where you can say, I've got an issue with workforce. What are you doing? How are you thinking about it differently? So it's not just finding solutions from vendors; it's also finding solutions from people that are in the industry, but not necessarily your competitors. And sometimes your competitors as well. It's a really surprising uh, the way that you can share even with your competitors new ideas to make the industry better in general, because we're all going to suffer from workforce shortage, right? And that's going to be a common issue. So how are we working on that together as a team, either from a policy perspective, from promoting more technologies that allow us to become more efficient and more effective, safer. It's something that we can all do together, not just individually.
Now, ISSA show is created for everyone. Let's talk about size of companies or organizations. Because you
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, if you bring a large team, split up and be strategic about that. But
Mhm.
looking at a small operation, could be one person, could be just a
Yeah.
couple, compared to
Yeah.
a large one that might bring 30 or more. How can they get equal value? What do you think?
Will they have equal access to the suppliers? Absolutely. There's opportunities for, mentoring too. I would highly recommend, Hygieia has a mentor program. I think when you network, networking with mentors, I get a lot of calls from smaller service contractors, asking, can I help them? Can I introduce them? I'm always willing and happy to do that as well. So it's finding those finding your buddies, if you will, that might be a step ahead of you or two steps ahead of you, and you would have somebody that you can get information from. When we started going, we went as a supplier, a distributor. I think we did $2 million a year, not quite, in revenue, and there were two of us that attended. Today, I've taken as many as 30 people to the show, and we've grown, but we get equal value out of it when we were two people or when we were 25 people. You just have to walk a little more, I think. We're more comfortable shoes if there's fewer of you.
That's the second time you've mentioned shoes. Now let's talk about that because when I first went to my first shows years ago and I noticed some people in tennis shoes, I'm like, tennis shoes or sneakers, whatever you call them.
Yep.
I get it. Uh,
Yep.
you have to be no high heels, no stiff
Yep.
boots. You're going to walk a lot.
Sneakers. I always tell people because I think sometimes people, as we open the show to end users in the past, sometimes people feel a little like, oh, should I wear a suit or is this super professional? I'm managing, a cleaning crew. How should I dress? I'm like, you dress however you feel comfortable. I think my team, we often wear our shirts with our name, our polos with our name on it. Actually helps us find each other. But also it's interesting because sometimes we'll go up to a vendor and they'll say, "Oh, I saw somebody else from your team. They asked about this." So I encourage, people to wear, proudly wear your logos.
Hmm.
Um,
Good advice. I should backtrack and say if you want to wear high heels, do that, but be
oh
ready
yeah,
because
yeah, you're
some
totally allowed to. I'm
yes,
not going to be wearing them for sure.
yes. So don't want to say you can't, but you got to think about comfort as well because it's 3 full days of trade show
Yep.
plus all the other events and activities.
Hmm.
Let's not forget our exhibitors. We talked about people attending the show, but what are your top tips for exhibitors so they maximize their booth time and create meaningful engagement?
This is really where I have fun. I think it is this leading with storytelling instead of selling,
Hmm.
leading with curiosity and questions. Not a question of, have you seen my new thing? That's not the question I would lead with. The question would be is, what challenges are you experiencing in X? Where is, oh, I see you're, an in-house education cleaning. What are your biggest challenges? Is it budget? Is it workforce? What is it? And then how does our product help that challenge? And be curious about what challenges your product isn't solving. I would expect that this is your biggest R&D opportunity is to talk to end users. How often are you going to be able to talk to that many end users in that short period of a time? How are you capturing, do you have a way that your entire team that's exhibiting is capturing those themes that they're hearing and they're addressing so that you can go back and say, we've heard these 4 issues are going to become big problems for this market segment or for this market segment. How are we going to address that? So you're very, very, very purposeful in capturing that data and that information. And God love, AI and large language models, Claude, Chat, Perplexity, whatever you use. I think that could really sift through that data quite quickly to determine your key themes. So that's definitely something that I would highly, highly recommend. And just, connecting with your attendees,
Hmm.
connecting with them on, have those conversations about challenge, digging a little deeper about how that's impacting them, how that's impacting their work, not just their organization, but them. How are you helping solve a problem, you know, for them personally in their role and for allowing them to achieve and have a better opportunity to grow?
Absolutely. Exhibitors have something to sell, but you're right. The sales pitch isn't going to work. I mean, it will a bit, but it's not going to be the best use. Being a consultant, talking about challenges, that's the key. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. One of the things I like to say is that companies that inspire
Hmm.
as well as inform, like really stand out.
They do. They do. All right, we're about out of time, but let's talk about the last point, beyond Las Vegas. How does the show connect to ISSA's year-round advocacy standards, education, and from Laurie's viewpoint, what excites you for the next 12 months after the show?
Okay. So the trade show is obviously it's our centerpiece. It's where we can all come together. But ISSA does a tremendous amount of work year round. Advocacy. We've got the advocacy summit coming up, which I attended for the first time last year and found incredibly, incredibly interesting, meaningful, productive. Not just in moving the needle on some of the issues that we had on the Hill, but the networking opportunity was tremendous because we've spent a couple days together with a group of people. And I've created more buddies, more friends, more contacts in the industry. Bringing young people to that is a great way to introduce them. It's a little smaller group. It's not as I think overwhelming as a show might be for new entrants. So bringing your emerging leaders to that, I think we have a discount coming up for that to bring them to come to the advocacy. We're going to continue to work on standards. So you'll see a lot of healthcare work in the healthcare arena, which I'm super excited about because our company does a lot in that arena, and I think that there's a great deal of opportunity for ISSA to lead more in the area of standards and EBS. So for those of you who do that kind of work, it's coming. That's really exciting. And then I just think the insights that we're going to get from the attendees at the show, ISSA will get insights. We have a booth. we're listening during that time too, understanding and hearing what people's concerns are will actually allow us to, implement some of those things, feedback that we get, and determine how it impacts how we move forward. So super excited about advocacy, emerging leaders, Hygeia, VEO. VEO is a really, when I learned about VEO, I was so thrilled because my workforce is largely Latino, Latinx, and it was just so exciting to see ISSA step forward and recognize this group and say, we really want to, do something for this group. So there's just so much great stuff coming.
There's probably more to talk about, but that's a lot right there for sure. So here's the thing. For those watching this program, you're watching this maybe before the show, but what Laurie just shared will also be in her president's message in the ISSA Today magazine. So there's that as well. So hopefully we'll be able to see everyone there. And if you're watching, if you're reading, if you're there, make the best use of your time at ISSA Show North America. Laurie, thank you for this.
Thank you, and we'll see you there.
As the modern workplace evolves, organizations must evolve as well. They need a partner that understands this new world of work. We are that partner. We are ODP Business Solutions, formerly Office Depot Business Solutions Division. More than just office supplies, ODP is a force for change, helping address technology transformation, sustainability, innovative workspace design, cleaning, break room, and more, making organizations everywhere say, oh, when they see how much more we can do. ODP Business Solutions.